Chamisa, mutakureyo tifambiwe, mutakureyo tifambe, muberekeyo tifambe, mutakureyo tifambe, muri eZimbabwe, mutakureyo tifambe, vari kuchipinge, vari kwakutu, vari Buruwayo, vari kucholocho, vari Gwandamambo, vari kwaMutoko, vari Dhariweni, mutakurei tifambe, mutakureyo tifambe, muri eZimbabwe, muberekeyo tiyambuke, mutakureyo tifambe nayo. Mambo, mutakureyo tifambe we, mutakureyo tifambe, mutakureyo tifambe mambo, mutakureyo tifambe, mutakureyo tifambe mambo, mutakureyo tifambe, mutakureyo mambo. Chamisa mambo, mutakureyo tifambe, muberekeyo tifambe, mutakureyo tiyambuke, ingarema mambo, mutakureyo tifambe, mutakureyo tifambe mambo. Kisad, Zilizei, I hope you're good. I hope you're good. And Will Peace. 479, how you doing? I hope you're good. Welcome to the space. T, how are you? I see you right there. I see you right there. Welcome to the space. And if you can repost this, ladies and gentlemen, tinofamba ngi nechirongwa zvakanaka kuitira kuti vanhu vakawanda vakwanise uya vachitijoina vakurukure nesu. Zambezia, how are you? I hope you're good. I hope you are good. It's been a minute since I spoke to you, but I hope you join us this evening, you join us this afternoon. Thank you very much for coming through. No citizen, Magadi, welcome to the space at Sakanyi. How are you? Vuz? Really say, I hope you're good. I hope I've said that right as well. Right. Thank you very much, guys. And ndurangotanga ndaita introduction. Imi maruru kwesa chimumiraini makadara. Ramba muri ipapo. Ndimi mchatanga kuita maspeaker ekutanga since imi matanga kurequest. Ntombana, how you doing? I hope you are good. Thank you very much, for coming through. Right. Mugeta reshare to be very much appreciated. So, guys, I want us to step into a conversation. And this conversation, I want us to get into the conversation, and it is an important conversation. The reason why it is important, because when I looked at what has happened with that topic and the subsequent posts that have been made by Advocate Nelson Chamisa, I said to myself, what is going on here? And when I'm looking at this, I thought to myself that this is something that is sitting It's probably the crossroads of morality, strategy, and the future of democratic opposition in Zimbabwe. Ndomaonera ndazviita. Because I saw that not just as everything that has been put out there into the public domain. I've seen it, not just my statements, not just my headlines that a newspaper wants to use to sell, the paper. But I said to myself, this again presents us with a moment that forces us to ask deeper questions about the issues of leadership, issues of legitimacy, and basically the constitutional direction that our country, is taking. Because, like what I was saying, yesterday, some of these things, that are happening, you have to look at them in the context of the constitutional, moment. I believe it, they would make sense if we juxtapose that with the moment, the Cab 3 moment. And by the way, I am seeing, a lot of activity from those who are in opposition to Cab 3 writing to the clerk of parliament. And can I urge you as well to do the same? Just send an email. Just come up with anything that you feel you want to say in that email and send it through. I am almost done with mine. And when I'm done, I am going to send it and I'll post it. Kuti izvi ndozvandatumirawo. And we just have to get to that point. Because kwasara vhuruvhuru wemazuva, only a few days. Saka we need to, even though some of you guys are saying good, it's in exercise, it's not gonna basa. But sometimes you just have to do it. And move on. But okay, back to the question at hand. There is, I didn't even know about this. I, I, Pandrukut, I didn't even know about this. Okay. I'll give a disclaimer as well, or I'll give a kuti the article yemu Daily News. I only have what is on the front page. I did not get the opportunity. I couldn't even get the rest of the things. Munongoziya Daily News vanokubhadharisa mupesa manzi subscribe saka I'm not a subscriber. I'm hoping that there's somebody who is actually read the whole story. But I am going with what is on the front page. That is what I'm going with, and then the subsequent ex post that Advocate Nelson Chamisa then put out. But with the little that is there, it is speaking to Advocate Nelson Chamisa rejecting a proposed opposition coalition, according to the newspaper. The newspaper saying they spoke to Advocate Nelson Chamisa, and that this is what Advocate Nelson Chamisa told them. And with their heading to say that you called it an engineered pact, a project, and then he then came through with whatever it is that he has written, which me I tried to connect the dot, and I said is probably doubling down, and where he said a project of dealers and crooks. But whether you agree or you do not agree, but this information or what has been put out there has opened a vote, right? And it has also opened a fault line that we cannot ignore. It's like opening a proverbial can of worms. When you open it, there's no putting it back. the way it was. Because behind the rejection that Advocate Nelson Chamisa is reported to have, and also what he has, put out there, lies a bigger question. And when I was thinking about it, I'm looking at it from this perspective here. Kuti, is Advocate Nelson Chamisa taking a principled stand, or what he is doing is a strategic misstep? And I will explain what I mean, by this. Because when I'm looking at this, I then started to consider, what does this mean for us as Zimbabweans, for us as a nation that is currently wrestling with the implications of CAP 3 and the broader struggle for constitutional accountability? So, when I said probably this is a principled stand, looking at his language, or the language that is being said, kuti ndo zvavakataura, to me it comes across as moral language. And as Nelson Chamisa, pastor, pastoral, almost, pastoral, the language. And what he is doing is framing the aspect of leadership, or the notion of leadership, is that of stewardship, something that one has to hold, something that you hold lightly, as well as something that you relinquish when it becomes a barrier to any effort of renewal. So if you consider, Koti, that is how he meant. And if you consider that framing, the rejecting of the coalition becomes an act of integrity, on the basis of what he's saying. What he is pointing to, I want to believe. He is saying, Guti, I cannot stand in my conscience and be absorbed into these issues of elites, or an elite bargaining, where people, right, are coming together in boardrooms, etc, and trying to form something. And he's saying, Guti, I cannot be absorbed, into that. I cannot be part and parcel of that. And he is appearing as an individual who's refusing to validate alliances. That is saying that they are being staged together in boardrooms, rather than an alliance that is born out of citizen agency. I want you to hear me. He is indicating that he is refusing to validate alliances, right? That are being put together, that are being staged together in boardrooms, rather than them being born out of citizen agency. And is signaling a refusal to participate in politics that treats the public as spectators rather than stakeholders. I don't know if I'm making myself clear, there. So looking at it from that angle, he's coming across as an individual who's putting, the aspect or the issues of ego aside, to say this is not about ego, but it's about protecting the soul of the opposition, because an opposition has to be born out of genuineness. So it's more or less about him saying Unity without ethics is not unity. And this is why, speaking about the dealers and crooks, yesterday we were talking about issues of ethics. You seem to be saying if you have a coalition that is being built on expedience, that coalition cannot deliver the transformation that is needed, the transformation that is required. And if the opposition is to be credible in challenging the constitutional changes that we are facing today, the changes that touch on the very architecture of power in Zimbabwe, then that opposition must first of all establish credibility within itself. We don't want people that are not credible. We don't want people that are in there for their own benefit. That is what he's saying. And if it is framing it like that, because we've been bent, if it's framing it like that, then it can be a principled argument. It can be. But then again, there's this other side. The one that I said is probably a strategic army step. And here's my argument. Generally, or in general, politics, ladies and gentlemen, is not about purity. Politics is about power. And power, especially in an environment like ours, a constrained environment like ours. If you're talking about building an opposition, sometimes we need a coalition of ideas, coalition building. We need to sometimes compromise and we need to coordinate. I've been reading my comments, and some people are of the notion that they're rejecting the pact, this pact here, that was at the center of the conversation that was had with the Daily News. Rejecting the pact can be read by some as isolating oneself at a very, very important moment that calls for collective strength and where collective strength is needed the most. And in the way that is, the language, the everything, there's a risk of deepening fragmentation in the opposition landscape that is already marked by splits, recalls, and contested legitimacy. These are the issues that are impacting and affecting the opposition in Zimbabwe. And this is coming at a time where we have got individuals or we've got citizens who have been exhausted or who feel exhausted by the division that is currently obtaining in the opposition ranks. So when they're looking at this rejection, they may feel like yet another chapter in a long story of missed opportunities. Hence, my question here hence my argument is this not a strategic misstep that is happening here? Are we not there? Because this is a moment where the opposition can present themselves as a united front against the constitutional amendment cap 3. And this is an amendment that many of us are arguing is going to be shaping or reshaping the balance of power. But instead, we are having a situation whereby we have got one party choosing separation over solidarity. So if I want to take that reading alone, the stance that is being taken here risks weakening the very civic resistance that is needed to defend constitutionalism, to defend Cap 3. I'm not asking us to be occupied in this tension, but we are finding ourselves in this tension whereby there's a tension between principle and strategy, integrity and pragmatism, moral quality versus political calculus. Those are the three things that we're facing. Those are the three tensions that we're facing. But maybe the real question that needs to be asked is not whether one side is right or one side is wrong. Probably the real question that we need to be asking is what this moment reveals about the state of opposition politics in itself in Zimbabwe. I think we need to face that question. Because when you see a movement reaching a point where unity is seen as either betrayal of principle or betrayal of strategy, as I am looking at it, it tells us something that is deeper. That the opposition is not simply debating tactics; it is debating identity. So it is now it is now an issue of identity, an issue of who is a genuine opposition, who is a fake opposition, who are the people who want to masquerade as opposition and yet they're opposition. So it is now more or less about identity. One person positioning themselves to be calling or wanting to be calling themselves that I am the genuine one. These other ones, they are not genuine. So you should never entertain them because they are not genuine. I am the genuine one. And the strong language, that is being used, right there. I might be wrong in trying to make a connection here. I might be wrong in trying to see the dealers and the crooks, connection here. But to me, that is all about the aspect of identity. And that right there being brought up in this moment, the moment of Cap 3, where there's a constitutional debate that is not happening in a vacuum, but happening within a political ecosystem where leadership legitimacy is being contested, where we are trying to build, coalitions, but these coalitions, these alliances they're just fragile. And where, as the citizens, we have found in no man's land, wondering which is which. Where are we going as a people? Because what Nelson Chamisa's criticism here is critiquing a type of leadership without moral limits. And this echoes the very concerns that are being raised about the constitutional amendments. That we are saying, Kuti, they present a risk of entrenching power rather than distributing the power. So when you look at his message, that leaders must know when to leave, that right there resonates far beyond party politics. He's talking about leaders and introspection, reminisce, introspection. Kuti you've been in this game for a minute, but look, reminisce, look back. What have you achieved? What have you done? And Where we are today, what has been your contribution? What have you contributed? Because what this can only add to us as my citizens, it heightens our national anxiety about this issue of succession, accountability, and even the future democratic norms. So I'm sitting here with this complexity, trying to piece together or trying to find out which is which. I'm not trying here to be reducing Chamisa's stance to be that of era or a heroism. No. But I'm saying let us interrogate what it means for the broader struggle of constitutionalism, civic agency, and the democratic renewal. That space, the opposition space, requires renewal. But do we have an ordained entity that should be leading that democratic renewal? Or it's time for people to introspect, look unto yourself, and consider your contribution to this democratic space or to this opposition space, and think hard about your contribution. What is it that you have contributed? What is it that you have done that has brought us to where we are finding ourselves today? Because whether you're going to see Chamisa's rejection as a principled or strategic stance, we are left with one fundamental question that we need to confront or that we need to deal with. And that question, ladies and gentlemen, as I finish, is what kind of an opposition does Zimbabwe need at this moment in this constitutional history of ours? Or you might want to say, what kind of leadership can carry that responsibility with both integrity and effectiveness? That is the conversation that we need to have. That is, those are the questions that we need to find answers to. Because when you see statements, coming out, like this, look at the trajectory or look at how these statements are being fed into the public domain. You can draw a picture. What picture you're going to draw, it is up to you. But I believe that there's something that we need to understand. And there's something that we need to deal with. There's something that we need to tackle as a people, as Zimbabweans, especially those who are sitting in the opposition ranks. Do we have an ordained entity that would take us to the promised land? Or we can work with what we have in terms of those that are pushing back against Cap 3 and call for unity and say, let us find each other as a people. Put our differences aside. Because the measure of genuineness, who, who is the one responsible for measuring that genuineness? Is it the political leaders or it is us as a people? But there are times when you have to set your differences aside and look at the bigger picture. You've got something that is threatening you right now. So should we stop a coalition with those that are saying, let us do this, and saying, we will not associate with you because you are crooks or you are deplorable individuals. And yet, on the other side, in terms of what needs to be done, it is only in words. It is not translating to action pertaining to that thing that is facing us as a Zimbabwean people. So which side, do we stand on? Where do we go from here? Who is in our corner? Or which corner should we be going to? Okay, these ones, they are discredited. But where this side is not discredited, as they are putting it across. But day in, day out, we are talking about stopping Cap 3. And the discredited side is the one that is making an effort to want to stop this thing, and the one that is not discredited. There isn't much, that is coming out of that corner. So where does that leave us, Isusu, Sema citizens, Sevana Zimbabwe? When I saw that, I said, here we go again. Anyway, I'm done. Owen.
Ango Gerard.
There we go.
Saka
Not right there.
vanhu vese noziva kuti se ndangotora mike ndichingosvika
Wangoside.
ndangokudza kutoti makorokoto because you are now a sober man. Ndozvamandivengera izvozvo handisiri nezanupefu yakakuitisa isoba kare kare daizoti kutaura nyaya dzewhisky kuti angojera nhasi friend tokuisirai whisky here
Pane umwe munhu akanditengera whisky yaakanga akanamatira
kubva mangu
zvatongopera zvakadaro. Imagine utsinyo hwakadaro.
aiwa izanupefu izanu
Ndazandamboona zvakadai so.
kana pane chinhu chamunofanira kuvengera zano ka ndo number 1 chekukuregesesai whisky ichocho handada kukuseka kuti angojera kuti nguva dzinedzi his sober havasi kutombotaura zvewhisky hakusisina noziva kuti when last did I ever heard anyone talking about whisky angojera kuti kare kare ndikana mumananga zanupefu yakaipa zvimwe zvacho yakanaka unoziva kana angojeri ndofunga kutofara
mumba mune mvaro
mumba mune mvaro because munhu anenge achingotenderera akaenda paspace aenda padhuze ati vanenge vachingodzora kuti ari padhuze aiwa ari papa pakaipa azvai zviri sei
aiwa handribo ndizo kanyaya dzatingori nadzo idzi.
ko mukomana hanzi atiza ari kupito aenda kuzi mukomana
mukomana
ivo sekuru kaveda
ndakangouzwa kuti handizoningi vakatsvamaya
hapana kumboziva kuti vari nepapi amene
tanga tatoreza mafanzi ekuti Uncle Jed endai munotsvaga sekuru vadzoke mudzoke nawo kumusha
amene ine handizoziva ine chokwadi but ndinozwa kuti hanzi sekuru akatsvamaya
ndipe adresi apadare
ahoyi makomrades ahoyi
ndepe yako padare
padare akuita ahoyi makomrades
change is coming
padare takamutendeutsa uyu asisiri kuZANU-PF handiti Uncle Jed vakasiya doro padare angari number 1 spokesperson takamutendeutsa
topic acho neanga ari serious yenyu serious mamtikazve chingota tichigara tisingakumbire mamike because pamba singaiti pamba pachipisa
pakapachipisa here padare
the revolution ipo ndopandakota kuti chaona kuti revolution yenyu mimi chapfuura Chamisa here Chamisa nehondo dzake dzaainadzo dzisinei nezvese zvamuri kuedza kuita izvi
aiwa apa handisitaura zvachamisa
tikutaura zvachamisa makanyawanzi Chamisa
kosekuru vari ku
ndakanyawanzi Chamisa
kunhai vhidhiyo iri kutenderera iyo vhidhiyo iri kutenderera kuofisi ai kana kuti akubata kana
padare tichiri kuita hit the
Inini
space.
ndazonaozi
Hasati
video
takutaura zvetopic, tichiri kuita hit the space.
imbomirai zvevidhio iyi come on now. I mean, come on.
ini
ipostei
ndaatongoti
kuzoti AI here
hakuna
pakaitwa
zvakadaro.
ipostei
Even if you look at the timer, what kind of a thing
ipostei toni
pari kuita action but the timer has move asi timer yachanga yakafa.
ipostei toni
Aiwa
Padare
basa
unoziva iwe.
Hatiposti zvakadaro. Aiwa.
Nai.
postai
hatiposti
video
zvinhu
dzevenyu
zvakapusa.
Zvinhu zvekuti unosekwa nevanhu.
Nai ungazori posta zvinhu zvakapusa kudaro.
Bosi dai ndasina kutomhanya ufunga kuti hai AI mukuru havangadai hazviiteka. Waigona kutogaya kuti manje
weni ndoambosikati
anoza
kuposta zvinhu zvake
mambo andiona madhara kurutsani akavhura dhafu anomboshaika padhene.
But inini ufunga kuti ningiriki nango Gerald ka. Paipai
Right.
paakaenda kureserve bank paipai. Godra vaibatare vachispray vachingoti rakidza mapicture. Noti rakadzoserwa muvote here riya. Haisi ramhanyana ari kumbonospina. President wedu ndikurokoza kauri.
hatitaure
Mukurokoza.
nyaya yachamisa iri patopika waini wakapfuura
Tichiri kuita space. Tichiri kuita space padare. Ndindatotanga ini ndotanga ndahita like
Apana
this.
the space apana pane more than 182 people here now.
Vatu 182 aurega tipinde zvedu munyaya urarega ti maka takutaura edzimai padare kahupinde manje ndopazvakaipira tatamboti kuti mukanwa munganhuhwe unoramba wakavhara mukanwa wane hasi maweeks wakavhara muromo.
Vakagadzira chijoka.
no the revolution hatipindirika ndei kwenyu kumba kwenyu isusu tati
Kosa makundira
Chamisa
Chamisa
ati
eh.
ati hanzi vamwe vese ana jobhu anani hapana zvavari kuedza kuita listen pane
Ataura
video
mazita here.
ndiani komumwe ari kuita izvozvo
Pamwe iwewe padare handiti uri kuita futi
haana kuti
iwe
macitizen
kutoreva
ati zvemaleaders ari kuita zvekuopoza
iwe hausi lidere diaspora for ed iwewe nataxi drive.
aiwa kana munoripe position yandisina ina am not that important zvavo
Aiwa,
but
aiwa,
tinoya ndingomwana hapana pamaspace panapa am not important
Ngachiitai serious guys.
okay I will present you ndisati panapa listen there's a video that was given that Chamisa remember when he came up he's doing a comeback. Yeah, he's doing a comeback. If you listen to that video, actually, I've got a clip of it. He clearly states the same and very same things that he always states all the time. That hakuna anything else. Nyika iri kunetsekana nenyaya yekuti they are disputed elections, they are doing this, they are doing that. There's people who are sungwa whatever, which the bill is supposed to address. But he says you cannot talk about all those things without being involved. He clearly stated it. I'm coming up with a plan. NASA akupa plan yakuudza kuti hapana kwazvinoenda anything to do with anything kana inindi sipo panyaya iyoyo. So you guys really need to go back to what I've been saying. If you want to opposition to move in any shape or form, no matter how much you can critique us in our voice, it will not happen without Chamisa. I don't know how you are going to get him to your movement.
Aika padare ndiwe uri kuadvocatera Chamisa kudai.
Sure, but I've always said what I'm saying.
Chingomubvunza kuti flopa kwake kwapera.
Andikufarira Chamisa, ndikubvisa misodzi yenyu.
Angojedi usiye mukushaya kwenyu urikuenda kuna padare.
Chamisa ati zvinhu zvese zvamuri kuenda kuita pact yamuda kuita it's hopeless. And I've been saying this all the time about Chamisa from beginning. And look at how, if Jobs had mentioned something, it would have not gone. If Monzora said something, it would have not gone an attention. If Coupe had said something, it would not get this attention. This will go for the next weekend. Kusvika tipinda kambiri. Ndonya hadi atutopinda naye mbiri yoyi. muchindongozvirova
Wait.
mirira mirira unzwe mirira unzwe
Parliament yajonwa kusvika musi wa2
hamuti
June.
imi dzokerai
I want Parliament is adjourned
it doesn't
for
matter
2 weeks.
it
For
does
2
not
weeks.
Until
matter
the 2nd of June.
yes hazvina basa zvikukupai time kai kuti imimi moramba muchikonjera
No,
but
andinoziva
you're not getting what
rikasasainwa
listen always
rikasasainwa
Pana
2nd of
always
nemkana.
June.
ngandipedze kuti
Panemkana.
parliament yatwa adjourned does not mean that it's victory to your narrative. Don't be silly about it. Kuti zvanzi iwe parliament yatwa adjourned hazvinabva zvanzi yatwa adjourned because imimi muchano but opposition idzi ichaita sei. No, that's not what it means. Yatwa adjourned, the reason yatwa adjourned iwe hauizivi reason yatwa adjourned isiya zviri ikoko kubasa kwavo. It's just what we know. They gave us a date of 18 to finish this thing according to the presentation that they did. So from there, takumirira kutochirowa chichena mberi. Because zvese zvakutaura zvazvina basa. But what I know for a fact ndezvekuti Chamisa akuudzai, like we're always saying, kuti hakuna mumwe munhu futi achafamba muZimbabwe as an opposition leader anopfuura iye. Ndiye makuru one, ndiye akasikwa naMwari kuti akutongei imi munhu opposition. So you and your narratives, you are just going to be here, be angry about it, travel into the weekend miserable because the energy you have given to all this, the person you think you're creating a place for is actually doing what he wants to do. No one can go above in the opposition. No one can go above the little God he has created in himself, and that's for a fact. Many thanks.
Right. Thank you very much. Appreciate.
Ndochipinda panzvimbo pangu zvangu.
Pindawo. Come through.
Thank you. Uncle Gerald. Issue iripo Pact. All these sentiments. This is the resistance that citizens has given to this pact and to these people. Do you still remember when they first came? They came with an idea of them positioning themselves. There's a day I asked, are we talking of CAB 3 or we are talking of individual glorification or individual positions? And then there were a lot of questions that we've been asking, which did not come through clearly. And we asked other questions. Is this citizen driven or it is being driven by a structure which was put that is taking leadership positions? And we
Right.
realized that people are in quest of positioning themselves into an organization where a champion cannot really voice out because you'll be asked, who are you? What position do you carry? What authority do you carry? There are, I don't know how many of them, but there are a couple of them. They have and they wear different colors and uniform, yet they are fighting the same thing. And then as citizens, we're asking, why is it they are not working together? Someone says, once beaten, twice shy, they no longer trust each other.
But Kaba, there's an indication of them finding each other, coming together. Kaba.
But the coming together, Uncle Gerald,
Eh.
it is only now. But the biggest fight was done as people were doing it from their own houses. Okay, I'm not scared of mentioning names. Maduku was beaten. When Maduku was beaten, do you know what he was wearing?
Yeah, the Duku at the NCA one.
Right. Tendai Bit was arrested in Mutare. What was he wearing?
The CDF.
Right. And we have Job Sikala. He got planted with explosives in South Africa. He didn't have other Pact members with him. He was doing his own thing. Do you still remember all these things? We have so many of them who were just pulling this gauge, the same direction, but with different cows tied to one gauge. I don't know if you
Right.
understand what I'm trying to say. So that's why even an outsider, even Bedo will say this thing will not move. Because number one, you are not united. We've seen some people coming here saying, let's you be united. And we ask them questions. You want to be united, you and who? If you want to be united as leaders, why are you coming to citizens? Do you still remember all this that we're asking? And the people and individuals who were coming to people to say, we want to be united by leader Ningi, by leader Ningi. Why are you coming to us? We are citizens. Sort your only debt linen is there as leaders. Let's say they've
Right.
got each other's phone numbers. They have each other's addresses. They know where to find each other. They were supposed to do it in the background and come to us. If I want to be united by, I will not say Pandare. Yo, no. If I want to be united by Mercy,
Yes.
I don't come to the public. I go to a inbox. Mercy this, mercy that. When we are now appearing, pepa munozondinzwa ndichiti mukadzi wangu chichi, pane manegotiations akaitwa kubackground. So that pandozoti mukadzi wangu, hapana kunzi iwe ndeipi yauri kutaura iyi. Vanhu vanoona tichitaura same language.
But are
Tichidhodzera.
they not? But are they not? Are those not the questions that people were posing? Kunema leaders, I have mimi ma leaders in mimi. Why is it we are yakadai, we are yakadai? Why are you not, uniting? And then they told you, we are in the middle of having conversations.
Hence now we say the pact will not work because
Aiwaka, but okay, Mirai. Imini vachamisa pavakadzoka vakataura kuti the dance floor was empty. There was no player in the dance floor. There was a vacuum. So he's coming in to occupy or to reoccupy, the dance floor. He left the dance floor. Nobody occupied the dance floor. He is now coming back to occupy that same dance floor, that he left. And then it is on record, people being told to form their own movements. Why are you bothered about Chamisa? Go on and do your own thing. And these guys, they are doing, their own thing. So how come now these things, somebody is now commenting on these things, questioning the integrity of these things.
Oh, okay.
And yet, there was a point they would go out there and form your own things.
Right. Ango Gerald. Like I'm saying, people who are watching from outside, that's why where I wanted to take my example of the parable, myself and Mercy, is anyone who is watching from outside the arrangement can see that it will not go anywhere. Not because it will not go anywhere.
But are you now seers, people that see into the future?
Oh, okay. Allow me to proceed a little bit.
All right, okay.
They need to swallow their egos first.
Okay.
When they thought of coming up with this pact, it did not start yesterday. Remember, they started.
But pacts require negotiations, and negotiations take a long time.
Right, Ango Gerald. When the subs offices were bombed, these people were together on the very day. That was a pact. But it showed that some days after that, vakaita mazuva kwake, azuva kwake, azuva kwake. Why? Because they still have the ego of everyone wants to be a leader. Ndopane nyaya. Hapana ari kushuwira kutoti ngazvisashande. We want something that is working. But unless if these people swallow the ego of everyone wants to be
But
in
they are,
control.
but they are self-correcting. Okay, let's say good is what they were being.
Aiwa, uncle,
Mira,
Let's say
Mira.
good is what they were being ego-driven, and it
Mhm.
in the beginning. But now they are now realizing that being ego-driven does not work. We now need to set aside whatever egos that we have. We know we don't want to be massaging our egos anymore. We want to come in and do a pact.
So Uncle Gerald,
And then now there's an attack on that pact.
Uncle
Or
Gerald.
or a reported
Oh,
attack on that
all
pact.
right. Pact E. What was its
Mm.
purpose? This pact that is going to be formed today or yesterday. What is its purpose? If you can answer me on that, then I proceed a little bit.
When I raised this question, and it remember when we hosted Senator Timber, there was a question that was posed. I think it was Tofa who posed that question. Yeah, Kuti, how come we've got this and how come we've got that, and what are you guys doing? And then Timber pointed me to a post that it would put out there to say, Kuti, they are now in negotiation so that they build one thing. Because in the beginning, there were differences in terms of the ultimate goal, or in terms of what these guys were were actually doing. Kuti vamwe vavo vakanga vaine a vision yekuda kucreata something chinonangana nema-legal challenges chete. And then vamwe vanga vaine something create a coalition bringing together different players, my students, my churches, my opposition parties, my civic organizations, etc. But now they've realized, Kuti, there's no need for this difference, or there's no need for to go different, in different direction on the basis of these goals. So now they are now coming together to form a formidable thing. Very very.
Oh, Gerald,
Saka, you are looking at
you still did not
the
answer. What is this pact for? The one that is formed yesterday, between yesterday and
aiwa inini
now.
ndosaka ndati inini pabo I need help. Ndosaka pabo ndataura inini kuti I did not get to I didn't know about this part.
can I
Yati
help you?
it will refill. Yes. Yeah, you can, because inini
Yeah,
ndakansukutoziva kuti ipact yeyi.
uncle,
That
let
was
me help.
something that
Let,
handizwa kune pact. Saka I wasn't even aware. Saka ndataura in the beginning kuti I am not sure what this pact is all about. Iri kunzi izvo ipact iyi.
that's it.
Hapana kwairi kuenda, hapana kwairi.
Yeah, let me
Yeah.
help you. And vakabuda vachivaita pact handitika ma-leaders ema-CDF ne-CDC, whatever it's called. The
Yeah.
thing is, uncle, kutamba nembavha. Mavhaizi dzinoda kuita cabinet reshuffle, leadership contest, and also vada kuita ma-by-elections in the same in one thing. Mona,
But
have
by
you not
elections,
realized kuti? Hey, yeah, have you not realized kuti every single time panongofa MDC vese mva ngati unite ndo cabinet reshuffle iyoyo vari kuda kurishafula wote leadership contest imomomo vobvisa Chamisa ngaagare ega chinhu cheche ndechefeki imbavha. Baba, have a good weekend.
but Chamisa anobviswa papi.
Ipapa
Aba akascout
pama-negotiation
wacho.
imbavha
All
vanhu
right.
vaya
But
vada kunegotiata.
Chamisa is not
Uncle
involved.
Gerald.
Chamisa is not there for my
Ndosaka Chamisa
negotiations.
ngakuti chinhu cheche chinhu
Eh.
cheche ndechekuma handiti ndosaka rudaro.
Aiwa,
Because
aiwa, aiwa,
ndosaka ari
aiwa.
kudaro, because the thing is, uncle, vanhu vaya veka handimuremember bita achihanzi da usina kulika anga achizoperega. Why would you join with such people? Saka
No,
mafesi
no, no, Uncle Gerald.
vada kura reshuffling vanhu
Aiwa,
fesaya.
Uncle Gerald. Nyaya yedu haisi kuenda ipapo. Uncle Gerald inzwai.
Imbavha vada kura
Imbonzwa.
reshuffling.
All right, imbonzwa. Max
I don't
imbonzwa.
want to better power so
Uncle
that.
Gerald inzwai. Uncle Gerald.
Right, go on, go on.
Zvandikutaura ndezvekuti Chamisa is looking at this as just as all citizens. Inina
Right.
asked you a question. He is not a part taker. He is not an interested part in this whole thing. Whether Chabudirira or Achina, he is not benefiting out of it because he did not want to be part of it. Why? Because when he left these people, There were things that he said they should address first. One of the things that they were supposed to have addressed is kuda kuita vese kuda kuita vatungamiriri vese, all of
Right.
them, they want to do one thing. Iye haapo pachavo pacho still vese vanoda kutungamira. Ndo pane problem. Munozasenda kubvunza kuti sei yazogadzirwa nezuro pact iyi. Yaifanira
Uh-huh.
kugadzirwa kudhara. It's because
Uh-huh.
pese apa vari kurwira kutonga. Everyone wants to be a leader of this thing.
Ayo, but they were negotiating.
Ango Gerald, isusu chatiri kuda kuitira pact iyi was to
Eh,
fight Cape 3. Cape 3
eh.
yatosarwa nemazuva mashoma shoma kuti isainwe muparliament. Vakugadzira pact ichabatsirei? When they could not be, they could
Ayo,
not
but
be.
the game is not done, nigga. Even Yango Nyahega in the parliament, nigga. Yango Nyahega, they say, but the game is not done.
When we needed them,
Jet, you're not getting
most
it.
But they
united,
were there,
No,
though.
Jet is only.
But nigga, they were there,
Jet,
though.
listen to this.
we
These
wanted
guys,
them.
Jet, who's going to speak? Who's going to wait?
But
Wait, Jet, get around
Mirai,
the other point.
Mirai.
Okay.
Owen, when you say we wanted them, were they not showing up?
Oh no, Ango Gerard. I said when we needed the unit.
Okay, when you needed them.
Okay.
Okay, what type of need are you
No, that's
talking
not
about?
my
Were they not
word.
showing up?
No, that's not what I want to say. When we needed their unit most, when it comes 3 paya pisa,
But no, but did their
united.
disunity?
But
Did
no,
their
they
disunity?
were not
No,
united.
Owen,
Did their
Owen and Jet.
disunity cause any commotion?
Owen and Jet, listen. Who is going to the courts right now?
It's we have got what's his name? Prince is going to the courts.
Uh-huh.
We have got
Chibaya.
yes, and we've got my war veterans being ngirikini na Maduku, going to the courts. Tendai Beat Tendai Beat and Maduku, they went, to the courts. I think the case was thrown out, that it wasn't, it wasn't, agent, etc. But yeah, we've seen, a flood of
Okay.
activities,
So you
from this
still,
guy.
so even when you say varikufamba mberi kuti izvi zvamunoda kuedza kuita iyo varikufamba kumakoti kuvacho, that is exactly. Do you know where Chamisa's bitterness is? Because none of these people.
Can we really call it a bitterness?
No,
My
no.
we, let me tell
Chamisa,
you. Let me tell you. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me.
Chamisa,
I am Dara Mira.
Mirai,
Chamisa
Mdara
has to
G,
be.
Mirai,
Mira
Mdara
Mdara
G, Mirai, Mirai,
unowanza
Mirai,
tsoro Mdara G.
Mirai.
Tinomuziya
Hapana
Chamisa
tsoro
kupfuura iwewe.
kauri
Aye
zvichibva. Uri
wakare,
kutaura
Mira
guys.
mhani
zvichibva.
Mdara G hatikona zvekutukana
Ah.
panapa.
Dzeidza ndowanza.
Mira
Tsoro
wanza
dzeidza
tsoro.
ndowanza.
Mira
Ngatisanyepere
Mdara
vanhu.
G.
Ikwe zvinezvi. Ndindiurana chinhu ichi.